So out here today at the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. The high tide is going to be at 6:28 and the sun appearing at 6:25. Where the sun and the moon appear and vanish, and very importantly, their duration of visibility changes radically through the seasons. And you can confirm that. That's empirical evidence. It would be completely inconsistent with what NASA is saying about why we have the seasons and all that. The Earth is stationary. It doesn't move. And it's definitely not spherical. The curvature of the Earth has never been proven, nor has the movement. There's less than 3 mile-an-hour breeze right now coming out of the north. It registered 0 earlier. We can see the haze over the water here. I'll show you the numbers right now for the tides and all of that. I'm at Cherry Grove Inside. Let me refresh that. Well, I'm going to have to zoom out a bit. And then when I activate this right here, it'll show me the amounts of the tides and the percentage of the moon. Yesterday we had a 23% moon. Undisturbed water is flat and level. That wouldn't be possible on the globe they say we live on. So NASA is lying, however, not always. They don't always lie. That's what makes deception effective, is because they'll present some factual data, especially when they're teaching pilots to fly high-speed aircraft. You can see the documentation on my channel. CIA and NASA documents there verifying the non-rotation of the Earth and its flat orientation. That it doesn't move and it's not a globe, it's not a ball. Now, I've seen the tide here come in easily more than 2 feet higher because of weather modification and storms that are generated. Hurricane Matthew actually went over the top of the railing here with storm surge. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello. It's just water seeking its level. That's what it does. Isn't that silly that people believe you can live upside down? It's not possible, okay? And that's the reality of that. The globe is not possible, it's not biblical, and it certainly isn't reality either. I believe biblical is reality. And yet there's a lot of people believing what NASA is saying and that God isn't real. Yeah, they read from the Bible on the fake moon landing. Oh yeah, Satan knows the Bible. He knows he's a defeated foe too. How about that? Right now I can smell the fragrance of this jasmine right here. It's absolutely delightful. Want to illustrate, one of the reasons why I'm here today at this location is to show the symmetry of the reflections on the relatively undisturbed and certainly flat water. Take note of where the sun is appearing over the Bolanos residence there from this vantage point. Now, as I move on down to the end of the walkout, that perspective will change. And you can see where the sun came up a couple of days ago, or even yesterday, at the from the Prince Resort Cherry Grove Fishing Pier. That was a pretty good-sized fish, apparently, that made those ripples right there. Not a little minnow. I could carve truth in the sand there if I want to. I might do that. Oh, somebody put a hose on there. How nice. Look at how the water is coming in and up. It's not real crystal clear there because of all the pollen and other particulate that was on the grass, the marsh grass. So there's the moon and the reflection, and the moon in the view up here. See it? Okay, so I'll just back out, drop it down, and there it is. The reflections off of the water there, flat and level. That's the point of all this. Underneath the roadway there, I've got concentric whirlpools spinning in opposite directions right next to each other, blowing the toilet water spin of the supposed Coriolis effect in the movement of the earth literally out of the water. The thumbnail on that video is the actual culverts there with the whirlpool spinning. You can see it. I wonder where the sun's going to appear today. Well, the big clue is the vertical light in the sky and on the water. Breeze picking up a couple miles an hour. It's about 3 right now out of the north, which is where I'm facing right there. Now, just notice how the reflection changes based on location. This is actually the spot that I believe I will probably end up going to for the actual appearing of the sun. It's based on perspective. It's moving over a stationary level plane. That's how it actually works. Notice the reflections above and below and all the symmetry of that. Now, that is the Prince Resort right there. Right in front is the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier. I'll be taking us over there probably on another recording, but it'll be today, Lord willing. I'll keep doing this. So where we are, actually, the perspective is really a big deal. And I know that where the sun and the moon appear and vanish varies quite a bit. And it's also, I believe, possible and quite probable that the speed that they travel may change. Because I don't know the actual distances of continents from one another, and I can't actually verify all the light cycle, the day and night cycle, with precision everywhere. I can't confirm it personally. I could talk to people and ask them, you know, and then I've got to trust their honesty, and it would be hard to do that and calibrate it every day. What we're looking at is the film on the water there of, like I said, the pollen, and in that, this is the pollen season. The symmetry and gentle ripples that we have here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a compass on here. Oh, let me show you my contact info as well. I'm gonna take my do not disturb. You need to hashtag YouTube Truth to get my channel that way, and then if you care to, you could call me anytime you like. So here's my compass, and I'm going to point it right into the middle of the sun. So it's coming up from the northeast. Now in the winter, it'll come up over here, the southeast. And the Prince Resort is facing, the pier is virtually south from here. It says I'm at 0 elevation right here. Now, we do have the new, or I should say the repainted water tower. They just pulled the plastic off of that. And it looks like there is some serious structure that will be up there for the array of wireless technology that'll be going on there. I should have a lot more connectivity, more accurate, more quality. I'm not all freaked out about 5G and all of that. I can't stop it. What I can do is put healthy nutrients in and on my body and take really good care of this interface. Let me flip it around. My interface with this reality. Coconut oil on the skin in the bath water, magnesium sulfate that I add to my purified drinking bath water. It's drinking water. It's reverse osmosis, carbon filtered, and then I liquefy high-powered nutrition like spinach, kale, chia seed, hemp hearts, broccoli, apple cider vinegar, mixed berries, bananas, all that. I go into detail on it. You can mix up whatever you want. Looks like an osprey, quite possibly. Oh yeah. I've got one grabbing a fish right out of the water straight in front of us there. At another time. It's on my photo album. You can see it if you care to. So I'm going to zoom in on the moon again, and it's going to be very hard to see in a little bit because of the additional light hitting it and the small size that it is. I should say how it's appearing to us. When it's a full moon, it appears perfectly round. Okay, I understand that. I've got photographic and video evidence proving to me that it's not a sphere. It's got an odd shape to it. It's not spherical, okay? And you can see that if you care to. It's got like it may have a bit of a concave surface on one side of it. Like a flat spot, maybe dished in the middle, could be. There is mystery with the sun and the moon and the stars and the creation that we live in. One of those mysteries is not whether or not the water exposes the impossibility of the globe. I've absolutely nailed that with my content alone. Just what I've created and shown, I've proved conclusively to me that the globe is not possible because that's not possible. Water can't hang upside down on a ball of any kind. Yeah, there's a lot of gnats out here today. I don't know how long I'm going to hang around with all the gnats. May have to move on a little quicker. I made the mistake of wiping my lens with my shirt. It's got a little coconut. Oh, there, I got it pretty good. I used the back of one of my truth stickers. The paper cleaned that pretty good. You can see some geese moving towards us here. And notice how flat the water is with the reflections and the little disturbance with just the goose getting food out of there. And then when they pause and gently move, look at how graceful they are. There's a sense, for me, a sense of wonder of the creation. I'm not a creation / earth worshiper or tree hugger. I'm a biblical creationist that's glad to be and very grateful to actually be born again. God is not a cosmic killjoy taking the pleasure out of life. He actually provides it. The reason drug addiction works so effectively is the dopamine receptor is never satisfied. We got a happy fish or one running away from a bigger fish, swimming away. So the dopamine receptor is never satisfied, so it's an unending effort to try and satisfy that pleasure zone. When in reality, as I do what Jesus created me to do, He makes me real happy, real satisfied with life, even in the midst of difficulty and challenges and people being upset with me telling the truth. I'll tell it anyway. May 13th, they're going to start beach renourishment again. Undoubtedly, I will be creating more Veeams. That's the upside down video. Upside down only in the imagination, folks. So a wind chime can't hang upside down, a bell can't hang upside down, a plumb bob can't hang upside down. Using a laser level, they calibrate it typically with a liquid level. I've done it. I've used them. I've heard other professionals use it as well. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? Depends on the temperature. The temperature changes, density and volume drives the whole hydrologic cycle, which is the water cycle of the world, the evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms. So I've captured quite a bit of video where the sun apparently is in the midst of the clouds, just as Scripture actually says in Job 37. You can look at that if you care to. The nice thing about right here is I can put the view against a structure, a landmark that you can notice. Look at the movement. Look at where the sun is going, how it's moving. I want to get my hand off of there. As I zoom in, the weight of the lens draws the camera down a little bit more. It's kind of a challenge to get it perfectly still. However, I've stayed in the same location and you can clearly see the sun is what's moving. That's what we notice. Now that it's obvious that NASA is absolutely a deceptive organization, why would I believe anything they have to tell me? Well, the reality is I will look at what they say sometimes. They're showing a lot of fakery. Sometimes they tell the truth. That's what makes such an effective deception. Okay, now I'm seeing the sun again at a different part of the structure, just peeking around this part up here. There we go. So the Cherry Grove Point, where I do a lot of photography, is right on the other side of that, about a mile or so. That's the inlet point, referred to by many locals as the Point in Cherry Grove, South Carolina. You can go to the Prince Resort online and look at the cameras. See, the truth chairs are displayed there. Okay, now the sun is peeking up atop the house. And so on some of my videos I've got, you know, just short of 12 hours of broadcasting. Typically when it's that long, it'll be the audio Bible merged with the beauty of creation. The sun and the moon appear to be about the same size, I believe, because they are. That appearance of the moon, of the sun being in the clouds, appears with the moon too. I've got video of that and photos of that. I'm an investigative journalist creating content, vlogging, and showing the beauty and majesty of creation and how it's not what NASA says. Okay? That's the point of that. I'm exposing that false reality. If you want to know when artificial intelligence became self-aware, you're going to have to look in the rear view mirror. Because it has happened. Okay? It has happened. And it's very powerful, creating mind control programming. Many of you know what hardware is. Computer hardware. And the software would be the programming that runs on it. Artificial intelligence views humanity as the wetware. We are the wetware that they are programming. The system, the machine learning computers are writing their own programs, okay? Satan will use who and what he can. God uses it all, including Satan. So I'm not afraid to live, die, and of course, tell the truth. That's why I do this. So there's very little visibility of the moon left from this vantage point. I'm going to try and show it to you if I can. I've got a few gnats to shoot through to get it. There we go. Later on today, obviously, we won't be able to see that at all. It'll be way too much light hitting it. The moon puts off a cool light, a different light spectrum, and I've got a digital thermometer I've tested this with. They're not expensive, less than $50 at Home Depot. Moonlight is cooler than the shade of the moon. That's reality. Never been told that by NASA or the scientists. Wow, that's pretty spectacular, isn't it? So you can see from I haven't moved I've moved like a foot or so just to get this up close to the railing here. And I'll just back up to show you where I am here and pan around. The lighting changes how pronounced the reflections are, like that. We can see the ripples on the water and all of that. It's just gorgeous. The school bus taking impressionable young minds for their indoctrination into a false reality, which will be further complicated when they're immersed in digital distraction, much like the rest of humanity. At least with YouTube, we have an opportunity to see the truth